On August 18th of 2022, I started the first day of a 4-year journey. I had recently enrolled online to attend Arizona State University and obtain my degree in graphic information technology. So way back in 2022, I ended up suffering a work injury and broke my hand. I'd been kind of considering what I'd been doing with my life up to that point anyway, and honestly breaking a bone served as the catalyst I really needed to just take the plunge, so I ended up stepping down at work and began to pursue that coveted college degree. And that's it. I've been attending school every semester since I started. Fall, spring, and summer. Fall, spring, and summer. 4 years straight. Looking back, it's been a pretty crazy ride. I won't lie, there were more than a few times this whole thing felt insurmountable. Where I'd look at all the classes I still had to get through, and it felt like the end just wasn't ever gonna come. Honestly though, I think math was one of the most difficult things I have ever had to do in my entire life. Luckily, my sister is a physics major, and she really went above and beyond to help tutor me and just really help me get through that class. She's probably really the only reason I made it through, and I not only passed, but I also passed with a B+. So awesome. Aside from the math class, there were plenty of other times where I just felt the burnout as well, and I was really questioning if I was going to make it. But I just kept pushing, one step in front of the other. Ultimately, I knew this whole thing was going to be worth it, and we'd get to the finish line eventually. It was definitely tough sometimes, but there were also some really cool things I got to do along the way. So for instance, one of my favorite projects was for the print media class, where I created an updated version of the packaging for the board game Betrayal at the House on the Hill. And then there was another project where I created all of the printed material for CryptidCon, which is a cryptozoology meetup, and that was just so much fun to do. It was really awesome just getting to make all of the material for it. I also got to do a lot of video stuff, which makes sense because that's the degree, but some of that also included playing around with the 360 camera, which isn't something I ever really thought of, and that was a really cool class, and it's something I definitely want to continue to play around with a lot more in my free time. But honestly though, I think out of everything that I did for school, my favorite video was for the senior project, where I got to create a trailer for the short film Lunchbox, which my wife produced and her friend directed. As fun as all of that was, it wasn't all just academic stuff though. I also ended up learning a lot about myself and really grew through my time at ASU. One of the first things I had to learn and develop was how to be an effective student again. I know it sounds weird, but at first I would go full steam ahead. I would read as much as I could, lecture as much as I could, homework as much as I could, and brains just can't do that. I ended up burning myself out pretty often in the beginning. And so I started using the Pomodoro technique pretty heavily during the first couple months. If you don't know what that is, you essentially just work for a set amount of time, then you take a break, on and off until you finish or you stop for the day. It was super helpful, and it really helped me get through the study-heavy classes, and I still use that technique in my everyday life. The second biggest thing that I had to learn was how to take criticism and critique. Now, I always used to think that I was great with getting feedback and critique, but the first time I turned in a graphic design project and it got ripped apart, I did what a lot of people do and I just got mad. But the reality was, they were right. Honestly, I didn't know what I was doing, and looking back, I don't think I was trying to defend the piece as much as I was just trying to protect my own pride. And that's where I had to start to learn to disconnect myself from my work. So instead of getting mad and arguing, I started listening and taking notes. And so I kept listening, I kept taking notes, and then I started to apply what I was being told, and I got better. Yeah, sure, sometimes it still hurt, especially when I was really proud of what I had made, but no one was telling me anything just to be mean. They were all genuinely trying to help me make things better. And on top of that, my sister had a major in the arts, so I'd ask her opinion on some of my design stuff every once in a while, and she'd give her feedback, and I'd just implement it. Anyway, I'm a lot better with the whole feedback critique thing now, and honestly, I'm a lot better for it as well. I'm also making much better stuff, and I'm a lot more confident in what I'm making. Another thing I really had to work on was developing my written communication skills. Whether it be for an essay, Slack communication, forum post, or whatever, that was a bit of a challenge. I never thought of myself as a bad writer, but I also tend to write in a very conversational tone, which isn't always appreciated in the academic setting. And also, I didn't use any kind of citation system, so needing to learn how to use MLA and APA, that was a bit of a curve. And also, turns out I was a bad writer. At first, I shifted way too hard into academic mode and was writing extremely dry, super rigid, running on and it just wasn't very good. My sister's an English major, so I started to send her my stuff, and she really helped me throughout my academic career, proofreading and marking up drafts, making suggestions, and also just helping me retain my personal style and tone. As I kept writing, my skills developed. I began writing more concisely and found more appropriate ways to inject my own personal voice into my writing while keeping it professional. Yeah, this whole experience was absolutely worth it, and I'm genuinely a better person for it. I've also developed, practiced, and relearned some very marketable skills: the Adobe Creative Suite, professional photography, even the 360 camera production. These are all things I'm interested in and I can wield comfortably now. And also, I have a whole slew of school projects that I can and am very happy to have in my portfolio. I am trying to be realistic though, and I'm not at all expecting to be able to just flash my diploma and get a job instantly somewhere. I'm completely expecting to be at my current job for at least another year before I can finally break away and do something related to my degree. And that's okay. And that's also the next part of the journey. But for now, I'm just going to take a little break and relax.